As far back as you can go throughout history, the concept of human intellectual and spiritual and physical freedom has never been tried. The only place where humanity has strived to be free is right here in America. Throughout history, you can go back as far as you want to any time period in any place. There's never been a place where humanity was free. Then you realize this and you wake up one morning and you say, wow, how lucky am I to be an American? To be in this place where finally someone went, you know what? I want to be free. I don't want to have to bow and scrape to psychopathic kings and dictators. I don't want to sit around and be told what to do by a foreign monarch. I'm going to be free. That had never been done before. No one had ever done that before. And if they did, they failed. Spartacus, the Greeks, they all failed. America did not fail. You realize the importance of that. Throughout all of human history, you realize the importance of that. And then, of course, you see what America is like today, and you just can't believe what it has come to. An empire. An empire going around the world, murdering people. And you realize where our country is like now, and you think back to 1776 and 1789 and 1801, and you just think, wow, what an amazing experience that must have been. To be free, to truly be free. No one owned your body in 1776 and 1789. No one could control you. You were free and independent. The banking cartels didn't have their water laws. They didn't have their maritime admiralty laws. It was the law of the land here in America, and that was it. No international law could tell Americans what to do. And that was incredibly important, and it's the only time in history that that has happened. Utterly incredible. And those men who fought, starting in 1775 at Lexington and Concord, and some of them stayed all throughout the war till Yorktown in 81. We owe those men everything. We owe them everything. Little fifer boys. Little people like Jabez Fitch or Joseph Hopkins from Ipswich. These people are not household names. They were little teenagers, early 20-year-olds who fought throughout the entire war and survived. They were very lucky to survive. We should be in amazement that the likes of Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, Patrick Henry, James Madison would all rise from this tiny population in this very finite country. It's infinite in its stages of the beginning. But also people who are not household names. I mean, Nathaniel Greene was possibly the greatest general America will ever have. Better than MacArthur. Better than Abraham Lincoln or anyone in his cabinet, or better than and he won the World War II. All of them. Nathaniel Greene and Henry Knox were the two best generals America perhaps will ever have. Period. They were the military geniuses, not Washington. Washington's importance was of another kind. And if you ask 1 in 100 Americans will know who Nathaniel Greene is. Almost no one knows who Nathaniel Greene is. He was a man from Connecticut. He never had any military experience. Everything he knew about military fighting, he learned in books. He had a limp. He had a cast in one eye, and he was a Quaker. And although he had seemingly no experience, he turned out to be one of the greatest generals in America. Same with Henry Knox. Henry Knox was the fat, amiable Boston bookseller. He just owned a bookstore, and all he knew about the military was what he read in books. And Henry Knox was the first Secretary of War. He was genius military mind. You need to know him as well. Of course, there are other people like Colonel John Glover. Colonel John Glover and his Marblehead fishermen. John Glover was from Marblehead, Massachusetts, and, well, I'll get into it. He was a fisherman, and he owned a fishing company, and Washington had hired John Glover to be his colonel, and all the men that he had in his company to join the war. And John Glover and his men saved Washington and his army several times, multiple times. I mean, the Christmas crossing on the Delaware River, as well as after the Battle of Long Island, he managed the entire escape. I mean, he made these makeshift little boats and escorted thousands and thousands of men, horses, artillery, you name it, away from Long Island to escape the oncoming British. But there are so many, like John Greenwood, Jabez Fitch, Joseph Hodgkins. And we have no photographs of them. We have no recording of their voices. During the war, there were no paintings or sketches of them. All paintings were done after the war. What we have, all we have, are buildings like the Longfellow House, or Monticello, or Mount Vernon, and the letters, and the diaries, and the memoirs. Their words, their experiences, their accounts. We should listen to them and treasure the buildings that they built. And treasure the Massachusetts Historical Society and the Boston Public Library, one of the best libraries in the entire world. Their voices are there. You can hold them in your own hands. We should never take that for granted.